here's my shuttle. Like I said, it's a guppy. It works really nice with the ukuleles.
Which is why they get included with them.
They get included with them for free. We used to not sell. There's a Windhaven history moment. Windhaven history moment. We used to not include shuttles because the reason that we didn't include shuttles is because everybody always had their particular shuttle that they wanted. But what we would find is that people would buy the loom and then they would go and buy the worst shuttle for that loom.
Well, they wouldn't get any.
Or they wouldn't get any.
They would be like, well, why didn't it come with the shuttle?
Right.
Because we would have the shuttle in the picture because it was all warped up and everything. So they just thought it came with that. And we were like, oh, no.
There was a lot of confusion. So we just finally started adding a shuttle that we felt really worked good and complemented the loom. So like the medium-sized looms, like the minstrel and the lute, they tend to come with our traditional shuttles, which are perfect for it. The ukulele comes with these little guppies, which are really nice, and they're small, but they're, I don't know, they just feel really nice. And then the fiddles, they ship with these little, we call our silk shuttles. They're really little because it's a really little loom, so. And the big looms come with bigger shuttles. And so anyways, yes, everything's matched up. So.
Well, I couldn't see the silk shuttle because you had it off screen.
Oh, sorry. Here, I'll show you again.
No, you're way. Yeah, there you go.
Is that better?
That should
be. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Alrighty. This is like going to go down in the history books for a long time. Now, some people like to warp their shuttle. Like here's this one here. This one's got it warped in a very traditional way. Wrapped. Not really warped. I guess it's warped kind of. And you go back and forth, and it makes this really cool pattern on the top. I like that, but a lot of times I'm too lazy and I just wrap it around and around and around. It's just one of those things, I think I kind of like to do that with the guppy, not do that with the guppy as much, because I like having this little bar here that I can actually kind of tap on it, and I can make my, my tap down and everything. I don't know, just, it seems like different looms I do a little differently. So, all right, let's get started. Let's get ready to rumble. So now, as you can see, this is a little bit loose. And that's great because you know what? That's why I have that little bit of squinchy bit of room there. Now I can actually loosen my tension peg and I can pull it just a little bit strong. I can pull it to the edge there and tighten it up. Now it's nice and tight, right where I want it. That's why it's so important when you first start weaving to make sure this tension peg is not right up to the front, but just a little bit back. So, okay, here we go. The guppy is nice because it has a sort of knife edge on one side and it has a flatter edge on one side. Now, that being said, I'll use both sides. So don't write to me and say, hey, you weren't consistent. And consistency is important for weaving, but it's because I'm nervous a little. So, so anyways, here we go. Nice setup loom. Nice pattern. Everything's ready. It looks pretty smooth. It's nice and consistent. I hope I'm in the picture here. Yeah, there we go.
Coming to check.
So, if everything's working right, you should be able to pull this down and open up a little shed here. It looks like a little triangle. And if it's right, you should be able to pull it up and make a little triangle, which you can. Now, if you notice, it's kind of a little loosey-goosey. It's okay, because it's going to tighten up a lot once even the first throw or two. So now, some people like to use our little Inkle sticks, we call them, which I don't know that I have any. But basically what they are, they're little flat things. Jesse's going to get one. And all they do is they kind of get the warp started for you, and then they work around. I kind of don't use them as much. Some people love them. I just don't tend to do it because, I don't know, I just never did them. But if you do want to have an inkle stick in it, it's just a little, like a little popsicle stick. You can just slide it in there, and then you're going to lift the next one up, and you'd put another one in there. And then you would do maybe 2 or 3. I mean, we sell them in groups of 4, which is what a lot of people like to do. Some people actually use like the slats for blinds and things. And all that this is doing is kind of getting things moving for you. It gets the warp working with the weft and your weaving and all that. I just use a little bit of the weft to get it going. I know that this area here is my junky area, and I'm going to lose that area anyways. So I just start. I like to start going downward. So I just get it in there, and I just put it in there. I usually will tie my little first pass, just because I want it to stay in place. So there you go. So now my second pass is going to be lifting up. Now, when you first get your band going, it's kind of like an old beat up farm truck that you got to jump start. You know, sometimes it'll be a little sticky. There'll be a heddle that's a little snug, or there'll be a warp thread or a knot that's interfering a little bit, or blah, blah, blah. Just work with it, you know, get it going, get it started. Get your old truck moving. So there's another. So now see, I'm not even patting this down. I don't really care. I just want to get it going. I want to get my heddle going. I want to get my weft in there going. I don't really care if it's a little messy right in there. I usually will do, well, I don't know, a couple passes, 2 or 3 passes. And then I will start to get a little tighter each time I pass. So like, oops, yeah, so down. Now, sometimes you have to kind of push your heddles back a little. You kind of got to get everybody going in the right direction, so to speak. Now, I got way too much of this pulled out. Now see how it's starting to pull together a little bit? The band is starting to take shape. And it starts, now I'm going to start to sort of tap down a little bit. And I'm going to start to kind of get my band in a nice, tight, you know, like I want it to be when it's all done. It's all said and done. So I'm going to start tapping a little bit more. I'm going to start pulling my warp thread a little bit. I'm going to start getting things moving in the right direction nicely. I'm going to make sure my edges are a little nicer. I didn't do it these first 2 passes or 2 because it's just going to get cut off anyway. So now I'm going to start to kind of actually get myself in a good weaving groove. Now again, I'm going to have to kind of, I think like there's that one that's wanting to be a little bit funny. Is it stuck? No. Alright. That's right. Well, sometimes you just have to kind of play with it a little bit. Everything has a sort of pattern to it. Oh, Evie.
I'm gonna go shut the curtain so you can't see out the window.
There
There's nobody over there.
we go. Now here, when I weave, my heddles tend to kind of droop down a little bit. And then so every so often I will pull that back and make sure that's nice and in a good place. Now I pull pretty hard on mine once I get weaving like this. Let's see here. Okay, so look at that. We're getting pretty close here to the first pass through. Looking pretty good. Now, if you can see this, I hope you can see it. It started out, you know, this is junky, but I don't worry about it because it's going to go away in a very short amount of time. Now, I'm actually starting to get a pretty nice little band. Now, I only did like 11 strands, so you know it's just not going to be like a super wide band or anything. But like I said, that's a good reason to start, you know. And you can see the little stripes on the side. See the little dots? I love doing that with a black and white warp. It's just kind of fun. So, alrighty. So I am to a point now where, yes, I can probably go 1 or 2 more passes if I'm really careful. But sometimes I want to get that first one advanced a little bit. Then I can really concentrate on nice weaving. So I hate to say it, but I also consider probably the first 1/2 inch or so of the actual band to be garbage. It just seems like it ends up being that way. You know, there's just not too much about it. You're going to lose a couple inches on every loom. I just don't know how you could not if you're doing a continuous warp where you're tying off the knots. I mean, if I was really, really meticulous and I made every single knot in a row and make sure it's perfect, yeah, I would have a little bit less, but I'd probably only lose about 1 inch less. So I just don't worry about it too much. So anyway, so I'm at a point here where I think I would kind of like to advance. I have a wonky heddle there for some reason. Not really sure why. But that happens sometimes. But you know something? When you have a wonky heddle, you know, you just kind of keep an eye on it. You know, it's just a little bit long. I don't know. Maybe it was the one I made, but I don't think so. But okay, time to advance. This is the part where on these littler looms, it's a little tricky. I'm going to be honest, you know, because it's a little space and there's a lot of things going on here. First off, once you get to the point where you want to advance, you'll know it because it's just getting to the point where you're having to cram your shuttle through there. And I'll tell you right now, if you always wait till the worst possible time to advance, I mean, you know, you don't even give yourself any extra space, you are going to have little trouble where you're going to occasionally miss a string or, you know, it isn't worth it. You know, advance at a good point and be consistent with that word again. So it just is easier than trying to fight that every little teeny bit, you know, just, you know, once it gets to the point where your shuttle just doesn't kind of want to go through, then it's time to advance. Shouldn't worry about it. It should be a simple thing. When I go to do this, let's see if Jesse's going to come and watch and make sure that we can see it all good. All you're going to do is you're going to loosen your tension peg.
Wait just a second.
All the way
We're
up.
getting a little dark as the night's setting.
Oh, it's getting dark.
So I'm going to help.
Oh, we're going to, oh, there we go.
That
A little
should
better?
help.
Maybe. What if we moved it up here a little bit more and just adjusted the camera?
Like, what do you mean?
If I moved it forward.
Oh, yeah, you could do that too.
All right, we're going to move it forward a little bit. And that might be a little more in the lighted area. Just got to readjust the super expensive audio visual equipment. You got it?
Yeah.
Wow, that was fast. Okay, so you loosen up your dude here. And you see how it takes all the slack out of here? Now you got to be careful that it doesn't get pinched inside that little teeny groove where the washer and the tension peg meet. I just tend to kind of, you know, move it over just a little teeny bit with my finger. Just kind of make sure it's not in that groove. Maybe. Now, first things first, hold on to the tension peg and pull gently.
The front peg.
I'm sorry. Yeah, hold on to this front peg. And then pull gently till advance your warp to the place where you want it to be, which is going to be sitting right on top of this top peg. I pull it just a smidge past because it always wants to go back a little teeny bit. So there it is. See how it's on this peg here?
A little zoom in here.
Okay, it's right on this peg right here. I'm making this really slow and drawn out. So then I take my thumb and I hold it and I pinch it. So that I'm pinching this work here. I don't want it to go this way or that way. Either way. Shh, Evie, stop. Now, what I do with these small looms is I go to this very back peg here. I don't know if you can see or not. I go to the back peg, and if you slip your finger in here, you put it in, and then you pull it over the peg a little bit. All of a sudden, all that warp that's underneath here just gets yanked back a little bit. See how you've got a little bit of gap here? And if you notice up here, all of a sudden this is really nice. Uh-oh, I just pulled all that off. Don't do that. Let's make sure I can get that back on there the right way.
Black's on the outside.
There you go.
Yeah.
So once I have that pulled like that, once it's pulled like that, I should be able to just simply hold on to this front here again and then tighten up sort of slow. You just kind of work it with 2 fingers. You kind of pull it back. Notice how this isn't moving because my thumb's holding it in place. But it's already advanced, so I just pull it all the way to the point where it's nice and tight, right? And then I tighten up the thing. That's all you do. Isn't that cool? You know, you can't yank all over the place. It just doesn't really work with these little looms. You can do that on the harps and the big looms, and there's a lot more room. But these little guys, you do have to be a little careful, but that's the maneuver. Now, I'm going to show you real quick for just a second. I have this one set up already, too. This is a fiddle. As you can see, it's much smaller.
It's the smallest loom we make.
Yep, it's especially smallest.
Here.
Oops, here we go.
We have an unfinished accordion size here to give you
the size variation. I don't know if you can see that.
This would be what our harp shape is.
It has to come in a little bit.
Come in a little bit?
It's huge, lots of room. So these little teeny looms don't have as much room to play around with. So, all right, I'm going to do again. Let's see if I get in the right place here.
You want me to zoom in a little?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see, I'm going to move it up here. There we go. There we go. As you can see, I don't have any more room here on the fiddle. It's the same situation as the uke, same, warping and everything like that. So all I'm going to do it really quick. I'm not going to talk through it. I'm just going to do it so you can watch. But basically what I'm going to do, I am going to talk through it because I just can't not do it. So I'm going to loosen the tension peg. You ready?
Yeah. Okay.
I loosen the tension peg. On the fiddle, I go all the way to the back. I pretty much just let it loose. I'm going to gently pull to get the weaving where I want it. I'm going to use my thumb. I'm going to go back here. See this back dude here? I'll stick my finger in there. And then I'm just going to pull it up over top of it gently. Enough till the point where it disappears here. It tightens up here. Just going to pull that like that. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to gently pull the tension peg up. And I'm probably going to have to put a little bit of pressure on it. You have to really kind of pull it and make it nice and tight. And I use my finger on this first peg here. That holds this in place. But it also lets me get a good pincher grip on this front part of the tension peg. And then I just tighten it down. There you go. That's all you got to do. Don't worry if this twists a little bit. This one's actually got quite a twist in it. Probably fell off at one point. It really doesn't matter because when it gets back up to here, it'll just naturally kind of separate out. It has to because it's huddled. It's just not going to work very well if it's all twisted and everything. And if it did really bother you, you could always loosen it and you could always fiddle with it and whatever. But I'll be honest, I've never had it not straighten away. So anyways, just tighten her up. And ta-da! You're ready to start weaving again. And that's all it is to doing this. So let me go back to the ukulele. We're going to keep, because now we're in a place where now's the time to have a cold, frosty adult beverage if you would like, because you're warped. And you're going, and you've got past that first little bit of garbage stuff, and now you are weaving, weaving. Oh, yeah, okay. So, now it's time to weave. So, again, if you don't remember, you just kind of look and see and make sure Yeah, you can tell, you can see how it works, but so usually you don't use two different looms either at one time, so that just makes it a little different. So now, got too much out here. You can tell this is like a little nervousy. Make sure I'm really tight here. There we go.